we've got computer, overhead, face cam, room cam.
Excellent. Where's it going to be New Year's in 15 minutes? Is it England? They're not 3
In the
hours.
middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Happy New Year. Every hour. Happy New Year.
Right, exactly.
Hey, Happy New Year. It's New Year's somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And not quite New Year's here in New York City, but that's okay because we're going to have some pre-party fun activities. And by fun activities, we're going to be messing with AWS Lambda webhooks and MQTT, Internet of Things. Oh boy, it's a party. It's me, Lady Ada the engineer, and with me is...
Hey, Tony D.
Tony D. Who is an AWS expert. Sorry. In the room.
Yep, totally. So.
We also have a cat who might drop in, and we have Phil who's on camera control. We're going to have some hardcore camera action going on here tonight. We've got all sorts of new setups. And let's talk about what we're going to actually be building tonight.
Yeah, so there's something fun we're going to play with.
Sorry, there you go. So this is a sample of a new product we're going to have in the store. Somebody actually emailed us and said, hey, you can get these from McMaster-Carr where they're kind of expensive. And I thought this would be kind of neat to have in the store. And I was like, you're absolutely correct. This is awesome.
So what is it?
This is actually kind of a machine alert. And we have these on the Pick and Place and Stenciler and Oven at Adafruit. And basically, it's a little tower of lights. You have red, yellow, green. Sometimes you only have a red light, or sometimes there's a blue light as well. And then there's cables to come out here, so I don't want to block your face. And it's a 12-volt common anode connection, so there's one wire here that's 12 volts, and then you can ground the wires to turn the red, yellow, and green light, and there's also a buzzer inside. So it's just an indicator, and there's mounting holes and stuff, so you can mount this onto the wall and then have it just hang out. And we just thought this is neat because it has this little industrial look. And it's just a great
all-in-one kind of self-contained light.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
And
clever.
it's warning, alert, good to go. And it reminded me a little bit of, we've seen a couple people do projects where they take a, maybe one of these, but a traffic light. You can get a traffic light.
Exactly, yeah.
And they'll hook it up to their GitHub so that when they have a pull or an issue opened or a compile error, it'll light up, and so it's kind of like a little.
Can warn you something's going on. So,
a traffic light for your builds.
For your repository. Yeah.
And so I thought, we could build something like that.
Totally.
And we would probably do it in about 45-ish minutes.
And hook it up to Adafruit.io, so get some
Adafruit.io
dashboards of blinking lights.
Hook it into GitHub, use some webhooks, but also people can use if this and that, or
Lots
whatever.
of options.
And so I thought we would just dive right in and get this thing blinking. I thought maybe we'd do the hardware first.
Right.
Get this just lit up. I have to figure out the pin out and all that good stuff. Get this linking and beeping. And we're going to be using ESP8266 breakout. And then once that's done, then we're going to go to you.
Right. So we'll get it on internet and we'll connect it to Adafruit.io.
Yeah.
We'll start controlling the lights we'll have a feed for the lights that can blink the different colors of lights. And then we'll get a dashboard where you can go on to just the Adafruit website.
Yeah.
But that's maybe not so interesting because you're not going to want to check your GitHub and then manually turn it on off.
Lame.
So we'll hook up some cool stuff that GitHub has. So they have webhooks, which are fancy web requests. So you can say, okay, when you create a new issue in this GitHub repository, call this little API that's going to live somewhere in the cloud. And instead of running a whole server, because that's going to be a 10-hour video in itself, we're going to use AWS's Lambda service, which is a little function that you write, and it just runs in AWS's server. So it's like a platform.
So it's you don't even have to spin up your own EC2 instance.
Exactly.
It's literally it's like a micro program.
Here's my code, here's my function. It doesn't need to run all the time, just when this request comes in, call this Python code that maybe tells Adafruit.io to light up the light in a certain way.
A little interface between we could also use if this and that or Zapier.
Yeah.
But we thought this would be a good, I thought this would be kind of
Yeah.
fun. I want to learn about AWS lambda and webhooks as well. So do you want to dive right in?
Yeah, totally. Let's
Okay.
get it blinking. So.
All right, let's do this thing. So let's go to our fancy new overhead camera. Overhead cam. So this is the alert tower. I'm just going to call it alert tower because I don't... Oh, hey.
Do you want me to move you somewhere? I can move you to the lower.
No, I'll just bring this down here, and then I'll put this over here.
There we go.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. So this is the alert tower, and it's got all these cables, and I know.
So what do those mean? Do you know?
Well, I don't, but we're going to make some educated guesses. This is meant for this is meant for industrial use. So there's red, yellow, green wires. So I'm just going to guess that the red, yellow, and green
Probably
are
the color. Would
the
make
color.
sense,
And I
yeah.
know it's 12-volt common anode because when I purchased this, I specified 12-volt common anode. And here I've got connected to a power supply. I have a 12-volt power supply. So I've wired this up to a breadboard so I could just plug this in. And there's also a buzzer. So one of these wires is the plus 12 volts and one of them is the buzzer. And so knowing that assuming that these are the LEDs, I'm just going to test these and figure out which one is positive and which one's negative.
And do you think that buzzer does it just take like a normal signal, or do you need to send it like a square wave or anything?
Oh, good question. I'm almost positive that it's just on. It self oscillates, so
Like
you don't
a
have to send it.
digital line.
Yeah, you don't have to send it a
Yeah.
square wave because if it did, you'd have to have some intelligence. Like these are really meant to just be hooked up into machinery that just has a 12
dumb-
volt, totally dumb, like
turn
high,
on.
low. So, all right, so let's try this way. So, is yellow positive and green negative?
And what happens if you get it wrong? Are there going to be fireworks? Is this going to be?
Well, nothing yet. So I think it's okay. So let's try the other way around.
Could be New Year's fireworks. Maybe.
Whee!
Yeah.
Okay,
Ah,
so it's-
okay. There we go.
that's really annoying. So brown is the common anode, and then so that means that we'll try red. So that's red.
look at
Wow,
that.
red. We'll try yellow, and then we'll try green. Okay, so now like we're halfway done. No, I'm just kidding. So we want to control this from the ESP8266, 8266 Huzzah Feather, and this processor is a 3.3 volt processor. And even if it was an Arduino Uno, which is a 5 volt processor, you can't control
'Cause you need a
12 volt
12 volt
lines.
signal,
It's
exactly,
12 volt
yeah.
lines, and so you don't want to hook this in because it'll float high and it can damage it. So what you want to do also, this is drawing a bunch of LEDs. It's probably about 100, 200 milliamps per segment. I don't know,
Way more than a pin. should
more than a
probably
pin.
force,
So what we want to
yeah.
use is transistors.
Ooh, whoa.
Whoa!
Now I'm starting to get scared because
Whoa.
I was more software, more
No,
just
this is
analog
fine.
stuff.
This is fine.
Like, where do you put the code on the transistor? Do I upload
It's inside.
it?
No, Transistor Man is inside the transistor.
okay.
So we're gonna get our classic NPN transistor, and I'm just gonna really quickly draw just what we're gonna do because
Right.
I like to.
Well, and this is helpful for me too. So,
Okay,
and
good.
NPN transistor. I mean, so I've heard there's like what PNP, NPN.
Yeah, there's
So-
PNP and NPN, and the reason we want NPN is it's a common anode. So we have this 12 volt line, and then we have like a bunch of LEDs. This is LEDs. I'm going to say there's three because it's likely 12 volts usually means 3 or 4 LEDs.
Yep.
And then we want to connect it to the ground over here. So we want to basically switch this, connect and disconnect. If it's
like
connected,
a switch there. That
yeah, basically you want a little switch to connect. So it's like a switch. So when it
Yep.
when it closes, current will be able to flow through it. When it's open, the LEDs aren't lit.
Yep.
So to do that, we use an NPN, and that's a low side switch. We could also switch from the high side, but then you have to have another 12 volt thing. This is really kind of the way to do
Yeah,
it.
a little simpler.
Yeah, and then we just have a little base resistor, and this is like about 1K. And then here we can have a square wave of 0 to 3 volts just fine. And when it's 0 volts, this is off. And when this is 3 volts, this turns on, which allows the current to flow through.
Okay, perfect.
And that's
So
it.
it turns it on.
Super easy. And so this is the base, this is the collector, and this is the emitter. That's just what they're called.
And you could use this not just with 12 volts. I mean, anything you needed to switch, any voltage level.
Any voltage,
Yeah.
except that you have to make sure that the VCE of the transistor, the voltage between the collector and the emitter, which is this is the C and this is the E. And if you look in the data sheet, it'll say the VCE max.
Ah, there are limits. Okay.
There's limits because there's 400 volt transistors that are a little more expensive.
Yeah.
They can switch 400 volts, but like they're bigger and they're more expensive. These I can't remember off the top of my head what the MPSA 222s are. We can look up the data sheet, but I'm guessing it's about 20 volts.
Okay. So pretty typical kind of.
Pretty typical, yeah, a little low voltage. If I was switching 24 volts, I would definitely check the data sheet, but 12 volts, I know these are fine. So we're going to wire up 3 of these. This is 2, and then let me check out another one. This is a 2907, it's the wrong side. This is another one. Okay.
And how do you know which pin on the transistor is which? Is it just a standard?
You've memorized it from going to school. It's for the standard, the MPN, so the MPSA 2222s or the PN 222s, or I think 3906s is base collector emitter.
So it's always in that
is
order.
alphabetical order too. Just
Okay.
So
Easy
base
to
collector
remember.
emitter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's with the flat side facing you?
Yes, with the face facing
Gotcha.
you. Okay, so let's connect up the base first. So we need that 1K resistor.
And what does the resistor do here? We're gonna need more sheets to.
Well, no, I do want to explain. So basically,
Yeah.
the NPN transistors, non-MOSFET transistors, the voltage between the B and the E is 0.7 volts maximum.
There's
Any
a
more
drop.
than that, and it can actually damage the transistor.
Okay.
So what this does is it just limits the amount of current. It limits it so that even if this is 3 volts, any voltage drop will be lost across the resistor. It's just a little protection
in some ways, yeah.
Yeah, a little
Makes
protection.
sense.
Okay, if you want to answer some questions, I have one up on the big board.
Okay, transistor.
Whoa.
Why don't you need something heftier like a TO220 form factor transistor? That's a really good question. The answer is the voltage across the transistor times the current, the VCE times the current, is the amount of wattage I have to dissipate. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of a shortcut because I've just done this so many times. When you are controlling these lights, and I know that the current is only about 100 milliamps, and I'm not going to turn this on for a very long time. I think the voltage across VCE is only going to be about 0.1 volts, and that times 100 milliamps, it's going to be less than it's going to be about 10 or 20 milliwatts, and that's well within the capabilities of the TO 92 package. If I was controlling a gigantic strip and there was more of a voltage drop and like amps and amps, I'd probably look for a TO 220. Okay, so why don't connect to the base of the transistor to the feather digital pin? Because the feather digital pin is 3 volts and you don't want the voltage at the base of the transistor to be more than 0.7. So this just gives you a little bit of protection. A 1K resistor is good for 3 volt, 5 volt logic. I mean, we could go through the full analysis of how much current is going through and then the
see
beta.
voltage level, yeah.
But because we're using it only as a switch, this is fine.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't catch on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to catch on fire. It's
Yeah.
basically just like how elegant do you want your
Are you
transistor? Do you want it to
power?
be? Yeah, it's like how
Yeah.
much power loss and if you pick the perfect resistor and it's like, ooh, it's exactly like beta divided by the current draw and you can control how much current, you can limit it. We don't really care because
We're just lighting LEDs.
this is very basic. You give it 12 volts,
Yep.
it turns on. You turn no voltage, and there's not a lot going on here. Okay, and then next step, we're going to connect the collectors. So base has the resistor, collectors next, and we'll just organize these very nicely. And then finally,
Just
we're going to
go
collect
to
the
any digital inputs then?
I'm going to do the emitters. Don't forget you have to ground the
Right.
emitters. So we'll just wire up these 3 in a row. Okay. Hey, cat.
Oh, the cat's there. That could be the next project, is some kind of a cat toy that we can control. Maybe these lights.
Wait,
you could-
emitter. Sorry, I totally got it wrong. It's emitter base collector, not base collector.
Oh,
emitter.
okay.
Sorry. Jeez.
Yep, we're-
I totally. For a second, I thought it was alphabetical. It's not. It's emitter, emitter base collector. Emitter base collector. I'm a little embarrassed. I just totally got that wrong. emitter, base, collector. I know the base is in the center for sure. That's okay. So sorry, we wire these. Yeah, emitter. Oh, it's funny when I
Cool.
touch this. I actually,
Is that, yeah.
I just pass a little
some
current
noise.
through. Yeah,
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure it's emitter base collector. I'll look it up if I get this wrong. It's been a couple years. It's been like 10 years since I had to do a lot of transistor wiring. Okay. So next up, yeah, let's hook these up to any GPIO pins will do.
Right.
Let's
Something
do
you can just turn on and off.
Yeah, so let's do pins 13.
And so if it's on right now, it must mean the GPIO pin must be in some default state that it's on.
Yeah, I have some code already loaded on
Yeah.
here, so that could be it.
Okay. Well, the chat rooms are up there.
Yeah, just give me.
So there's YouTube on the left and Twitch on the right.
Wow.
Actually, I'm going to red, green is this one, and then I'll have nice, elegant, matching colors. Yeah,
Now, how many other people do you think are wiring up transistors right now on New Year's?
It's the most popular thing on Twitch.
I mean, you could wire up like some kind of a light display, obviously, like, something to celebrate. You're gonna need some big transistors.
And don't forget, you need a common ground with your feather as well. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna just
Cool.
be lit up. I had some
Yeah.
demo code writing. Okay,
Cool.
so next up, let's open up the Arduino IDE. While it's loading, I'm gonna clean up my wires.
And so the ESP board, this one, we've set it up ahead of time. Basically, like, you've got to get the ESP8266 Arduino
Oh yeah, you have
project.
to, that's a whole other video.
Yep.
But this is assuming that you already have the ESP8266 set up.
But it's a real nice package. Like, you program
It's
just like a
super
normal
easy.
Arduino. Yeah, they've really made it slick.
Okay, so Phil, you want to go to the computer? Oh, thanks. All right,
Cool.
so let's.
You want to keep it in Ovalville like this?
Overfill is great. So this is ESP8266.
Or do you want to just split screen with transparencies?
Let's do transparencies.
Whoa,
Sure, we can
okay,
do.
yeah. Well,
I'll move this to the
I'm gonna
left.
push the boundaries.
Okay, well,
I'm just gonna write. And it's gonna take me a while to write all this code.
yeah.
So red is connected to pin 13. This is probably running some old test code. That's why the.
Yeah, yeah.
And then.
And you sometimes might need to be careful because, like, pin 13 is part of the SPI bus, so if you have other hardware connected.
Yeah, I do, especially the pins that have to do with uploading code, you want to make sure
right.
you be careful of those. I'm pretty sure 13, 14, 15
Yeah,
are not
those-
used. So then set these to be output.
You could be keeping that window there. Is that
Yes, I'm not going to move this. This is going to be always here. Yellow, green, and then I'm going to just blink each one of them high and low. So visual right, high, delay, 100 milliseconds. And then I'll just do red, yellow.
in Copenhagen? I guess yeah, it is.
Oh, excellent.
What?
Happy
what's
New
up?
Year.
What's up? Oh, happy Copenhagen. Happy New Year's. Yeah, 9 o'clock. That's cool. Okay.
Who traditionally does? There's always the New Year's countdown, right? It's I can't remember who would host that, but this is our New Year's countdown. So
Bob Hope. I don't know.
Cat,
Cats.
cats, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, New Year's. Cat.
Okay, so now we're uploading code. Okay, this is gonna
And
take.
this is the cool thing I think about the ESP Feather. So if you just have the raw ESP module, you've got to hold down the reset
the button
pin.
and the GPIO 0. Yeah, you gotta get into bootloader mode, but this
So
does it
there's
automatically.
A little bit of magic that it can realize, oh hey, I'm in programming mode now, and do it automatically.
While I'm at it, I'm actually gonna. Yeah.
Oh
ooh,
wow,
that's
look at
exciting.
that! It's like a disco light now. That's kind of cool.
Except that green is 4. I got this.
Ah,
I got
okay.
this wrong. That's fine, but
Easy, yeah, to fix.
okay. Oh wow, I got a transparency action.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
can we get to go to the overhead thingy?
Well,
No.
sure. This is what's live, by the way.
That's cool. All right.
Okay, so what do you want to
That's
do?
kinda
now?
sick.
Let's. Can we have the overhead underneath, and then transparency with the code?
Yeah, I can do that soon.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, linking. Whee! Party. So, I can just hold this up for now. But yes, we got red, yellow, and green blinking.
Cool.
So this is a
Got
good
control.
good sign. So next up, we're just going to internetify this.
Yeah, yeah.
1 second. Something like this.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. That's cool. Blinking. Hold on. This is actually, if I do it upside down. There you go.
Oh, slick. That's
Okay. So we got this code working. So
Okay.
now let's grab, and I'm going to just grab,
How's this?
oh, that's like
That's
perfect.
everything.
That's everything.
Cool. Wow, that's cool.
We're going to grab from my Adafruit IO MQTT example, and I'm just going to grab the whole thing and paste it here. And it's my publish and subscribe example. So,
And so this is going to connect to Adafruit IO, where we'll have a feed, and so the feed is like a concept of
Yeah.
a bit of data.
hey, this is written by you. Did you write this?
I think this example, yeah. Well,
Okay.
we kind of adapted it from some
Good
others,
work.
but yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, I don't even remember who wrote this.
And so yeah, so we'll have to configure the ESP. We
Okay.
need to tell the Wi-Fi network and all that. to
Yeah, so I got
connect
the
to,
Wi-Fi
yeah.
network, and then it's got my name and my key, and then it's by default there's a photo cell. We're gonna take that out,
Right.
and then we're just gonna have it maybe. We're gonna have the red light feed, and then we'll have it on or off.
Right.
Because we want to have a feed for each color. Because you want to get red on or off, yellow on. Because we can have multiple.
Individually control it.
Yeah,
so
it's
we can have a
individual control.
dashboard to
You
say,
can have one for
turn this
buzzer.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so this is the red feed.
And the only reason, unfortunately, we have to do this is we're in the Arduino, like the CC3000 version of this, we usually put this in that prog mem, which is the flash memory, because you get these long strings and you don't want to put them in memory.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the ESP, like you can kind of run out of memory pretty quickly with some of the
yeah.
smaller ones. So,
Yeah, this isn't so bad. This is we can, but this is
Yeah.
not so bad. We should have this all set up.
but yeah, if people kind of wonder sometimes why you have all this, it seems like unnecessary code, but it's just to kind of optimize the space.
Okay, so let's set the red light to be an output, or is it just red? Sorry, it's just red.
Yeah, red, I think. Yep.
Red, and then let's just do red because
Yep.
we're going to start with. That's the easiest one to start with, and this is called the red feed.
And red light also. So there's the subscribe object, which
Right.
Yeah.
So we're going to subscribe to a feed called red light,
Mm-hmm.
and then if it's on or off, that will indicate whether the LED's on or off.
Yep.
So I mean, luckily, I kind of have this all kind of pre-written because this is for just generic turning on and off the built-in LED.
Exactly.
So it has a subscription, and it reads a subscription if it gets a subscription that's equivalent to
And that will
the
change.
red light feed. I think.
Red light. Yeah.
Sorry, is it red light?
Red light. Yeah.
Sorry, red light. If it's on, if it's off, we will digital write low,
Yep.
and then if it's on, we will digital write high.
Cool.
And then there's also a publication step. I'm going to remove it. We're
Right.
not going to publish, but instead you have to ping. If you don't publish to your MQTT broker, you have to ping it.
Right. This is just kind of like a keep alive in some ways
Mm-hmm.
to say that I'm still here. I'm still running.
Yeah, if you don't
No.
send data to the MQTT broker once in a while, it'll actually disconnect you. So it's a
Right.
little bit of a thing. You have to have a ping. Normally we do a publication, but there's no output from
Nothing
this.
happening,
So
yeah.
So we're just going to wait 10 seconds in a busy loop, just waiting
Yep.
for subscription data. And that's pretty much it. So let's upload this. Whoop,
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot. I have to
Yep. Change it.
I have to change all this because it used to be just called button. So just change all this up.
And the nice thing too, the way the code's set up. Another spot.
It's very copy and paste
Yep,
time.
That's how you find them. You just run it and see.
Oh, and then I got to delete the old stuff. Okay.
But
Okay.
the nice thing is the way the sketches works. If it disconnects for some reason, like if you didn't have that ping in there, it's going to automatically catch that and
Yep.
try and reconnect. So
Yeah, on the ping, if it doesn't succeed, it will just
It'll
disconnect,
disconnect it.
and then at the top of the loop, it will
Right.
connect again. So it'll,
little
it's
bit
not,
extra,
it's not
yeah.
like quality of. So there's like quality of services. So you get like quality of service 1 or quality of service 2 for like high quality,
guaranteed delivery.
delivery.
Yeah, only one delivery or
We don't like
Yeah.
care about that. So let's go to Adafruit.io. Let's go to my dashboards. Sorry, let's go to my feeds. And I'm going to create a new feed called Red Light. This is for the Tower Light Red.
Cool.
Create the feed. Okay, so this is my feed. There's nothing going on in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's make a new dashboard. And we're going to call this dashboard Tower Light. Oh, sorry. Tower Light goes here. Okay. And then I'm going to create a new block.
So do like a button.
It's going to be called Red Light.
Cool. So we've got it.
Next step. And then, yeah, on or off, because that's what the code is for.
But you could change that if you wanted to have.
Yeah, I could have it
custom-
be custom.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Yep.
This is fine.
Flexibility.
Okay, and there it is. So now we have a dashboard that's on or off.
Cool.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. I want to have the both open, and I'm going to go back to my feeds because I like to look at the raw
and see
data
what happens, yeah.
as it comes in.
And this is good because like each step along
Whoa,
the way.
this is funny. You can see like I was beta testing, so I have like feed number 75
Oh wow.
and like
yeah,
77,
yeah, right.
and then this feed is 500,000
How many since then? Wow.
popular.
That's you've got the low. Remember, was it ICQ where like the lower your number, the cooler you were?
And Slashdot IDs.
Yeah. I think I had a 6-digit ICQ number back in the day, which
I should log in. I should log to Slashdot, which I haven't in 10 years. I think I have like a 5-digit or 6-digit or something. It's stupid. Okay, so here we are. So let's go back. So now that we've finished uploading, so
And this is always weird. The ESP, I think when it starts up, you can get this noise in the serial
yeah,
port.
hold on. Oh, I hope my ESP module isn't freaking out.
We could check
Did I
the baud
change
rate.
my? Yeah, I
too.
probably changed the. No,
Oh
it's
no, 1150,
415.
200.
Let me try uploading it again.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't frazzle it. I don't think I did. Well, it's uploading, so it's mostly working.
Or the previous sketch I don't think had any serial output at all.
Oh.
So that's
no, but
probably why.
Oh, maybe. I thought I uploaded it. Maybe I didn't. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Upload. Blanking. Oh, that's true because it was flashing the LEDs. So
Yeah.
you're right. You're correct. Okay.
Here we go,
Connected
yeah.
to Adafruit. And so, okay, it's on MQTT. It's that fast, which I really like.
Yeah, super quick.
So let's put this over here, and we're gonna, whoa, that's not what I wanted. Over here, and then we'll shrink this up, and then on
cool.
and off. So
So you
that's
see
cool.
the serial output, and
Yeah,
the
so here-
light too is blinking.
Hold on. So what? I'll hold this.
that.
Why don't you
Okay.
click?
So we go. Let's see. To
Whoa,
Off.
off, and then on, off, on, off, on, off, on. So basically,
quick,
like,
yeah,
we're
that's
done. We made an internet-connected alert, and now
that's
so
pretty cool.
we could make yellow and green. So let's
Right.
I'm just gonna really quickly do that.
Sure.
We'll make
So we can add like a new button for each color on here.
yeah. So now we're just gonna go
And
back
it's-
to your feeds and make a new feed called yellow light.
And pretty much we just copy and paste what we did before. Like it's a new feed, but
You know, I
it's
don't
all
know
the
if we
same.
can do multiple subscriptions on that. I don't know if I've tested it. I'll find out.
Yeah, I think you can do up to like there's a limit. There's a define.
But I haven't tested it with our MQTT library. I think there was a bug
we'll
once.
See. This
We'll
will
see
be,
if
yeah,
we'll
this will
see.
be cutting edge.
And then
investigation.
green light. And then on the dashboard, we're just gonna make a new block.
For each
Same type?
colors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yellow. Okay.
Cool.
And then-
Yellow light.
And then I'm going to
This will be nice. It'll be in the order on the dashboard.
Oh,
as
I
the
can do that
lights,
too,
so,
yeah.
Fancy.
green, choose, and then buzzer. But I don't want to do buzzer because I don't want.
Yeah, right. Buzzers.
I want to skip
A
the
little
buzzer.
annoying, yeah.
A little annoying. Okay,
Cool.
so we've got all three. Do some
Little big, yeah.
dynamic
There we go.
thingy going on here, and then let's try. We'll try
Yeah.
subscribing to multiple.
We should be able to just create 2 new subscription objects.
Yeah. Let's try it. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
This may not work. This may work great. This might be sad. This might be happy. Yellow, and I have to change the names. Okay, so yellow, 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 yellow.
Oh, actually, it's red feed is.
Oh, and the car, yeah. Yellow.
Yeah, I've been thinking it would be nice, like we could make it defined maybe
That does this all
does
for
this
you.
boilerplate because it's so common. You know, you want to read a bunch of feeds. Or
Okay, to get green,
things.
green, green, yellow.
The yellow needs an underscore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry. I think I got them all.
Yeah. Yep. I think that
Okay.
looks right.
We'll find out. Okay, then we subscribe to yellow and green. Set them all to outputs. Let's just try compiling. Not uploading, but just compiling to
Yeah.
see if it compiles.
It's
Okay,
smart
compiles.
because, yeah, make a lot of changes.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I used to do early on in programming. Like, you write your entire program and then you compile, and then you pull your hair out. It's like, oh God, everything's broken. So do things in small steps was one big takeaway.
Okay, so now we've got the subscription. I just changed it so it'll print out.
Oh, smart. Yeah, which one?
Red.
You've got. Yep, red.
So then yellow. Yellow got yellow, 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 yellow. That's
Cool.
it, right? Did I get them all?
Yep.
Okay. Find out when the wrong colors get
Yep.
activated. And then green, 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 green.
And if we only want to do like one color at a time, I guess we could have like one feed.
We could have one
and
feed.
Send it like a string.
Yeah, and have like
Yeah.
different indicators, but because you can have multiple ones
Right.
lit,
Just a little more flexibility.
that's kind of nice. Okay. Compiled, so
Cool. Okay.
upload. See what happens. All right, and then this is done. Now all we have to now basically because we have Adafruit.io acting as an MQTT broker, we can now hook like Zapier, if this and that, anything,
Right. Anything that can talk to an MQTT service. So
which is like everything.
right.
Pretty much,
There's
yeah.
a library for every language. The Eclipse Foundation, they have some really good MQTT libraries called Paho.
Yeah.
There's one for every language, like Java. Python,
Definitely,
so-
like if you guys want to stop, you can stop and just do the built-in services, like if this and that, or Zapier,
Right.
just use the dashboard, or use Python, or use JavaScript, or use Rails, or whatever.
Rust, whatever language of the
Quick
day.
Basic.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
TI-99.
All right, so we're connected to MQTT, so let's just see if it's
Okay.
getting these messages. Again, I really don't know if
This,
it's going to work.
this could be a live demo. Uh-oh, something. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we got
Wait.
we got yellow. Interesting.
Okay, maybe we take a second. So yellow is working. Green,
Okay, that's good. Good.
is working.
Let's see what's.
Red.
Okay, there we go.
Maybe it just
Interesting.
maybe it wasn't quite connected or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
It took
yeah.
a second to
Interesting.
get
So-
on there. So yeah, so red. Here I can. I'll hold this up
Yeah.
again.
Okay, cool. So,
So-
we've got yellow.
Yellow.
And then, oops, let me scroll down here. So, oh boy, uh-oh.
You got
Green.
it. Green.
There we go.
Green.
So, cool.
Okay. So yeah, you can have multiple
Yellow.
lights on at once, and then go back to red and turn it on and off. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So like we're done.
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay,
cool.
sweet.
3 different lights.
So while yeah, so let's and it's getting messages and stuff. Okay, so let's just turn this off so it's not annoying. All right, now it's pretty much your turn.
Cool, cool. So I think what we want to do then is let's try and hook it into GitHub. So
Okay.
GitHub has a neat thing called webhooks, which are like ways to integrate notifications from GitHub. So like there are a lot of different ways. MQTT actually is kind of a notification protocol, but webhook is more of like a web-based protocol where you define a little API, like a web API, that you can do a web request to, like do an HTTP put. And you can put data in that web request and say, okay, here's some state that's changed. So you can tell GitHub, okay, I've got a repository. I want you to call some service I build whenever something happens in that repository. Like if someone creates an issue or if someone pushes new code, And so I think it'd be kind of cool to do that with the lights here to say, okay, when someone creates a new issue in a repository, turn on a light to say, hey, something changed in here.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe we'll start with doing something like that. So let's
So let's go to GitHub.
Exactly, and we can kind of look at the settings they have here.
Okay, so let's actually make a new repository because we actually have to
something
anyways for this
something to play
project.
with, yeah.
So what are we going to call this repository? This is IoT
New Year Tower Light.
New Year Tower Light.
Cool.
Okay. New Year Tower Light, and then IoT Tower Alert. We did this last night of 2015. Okay, and let's make this public, and we can initialize it with a README, create the repository. Okay, so now we have a new
Cool.
repository, and I'm going to just really quickly clone
it down, right?
so that we have a copy of it here. Thanks. Okay. Okay, great. So
Cool.
we're here.
So go to the Settings tab on the repository, and the way it works in GitHub, you can do this per repository.
Okay.
We could even do it at the entire organization level, but I don't think we're
Not
gonna
ready
do
for that.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want.
I have we have like 400 repos. I'm not ready for
Just
it.
be blinking nonstop. So, okay, so go to Webhooks and Services, and Webhook is at the top. This is where like Webhook, you can plug in your own little webhook you build. Services, I think, is like a fancy directory where they've got pre-built things, but we're kind of doing it ourselves. So let's do Webhook.
Add webhook.
And so, okay, so now here's a problem. Like, where do we point this thing at?
Well, can we point it at adafruit.io?
We don't have like a webhook interface there, so that's kind of a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need something that talks webhook, which I think we're working on with Adafruit.io, but it's not done yet.
Right,
but whatever.
exactly. So we need some code somewhere that can receive this web request and then tell Adafruit.io, okay, change, do the
Mm-hmm.
state. So something neat we can do. So like one option would be the traditional option. We go get a server somewhere. We learn.
And all it does is run webhooks and like
Yeah.
it listens
We
for a
need to
post.
build a web interface. You know, you do it in like Python, Node.js, whatever. But that's kind of a pain in the butt because
That's
you've
a
got
pain
to
in the
run
butt.
a server. You've got to be a server.
We only
admin
have
suddenly.
like a few hours for the end of the year. We have to finish this by 2015.
Exactly right. Yeah,
we have a deadline.
Yes. We got to get code out.
Okay.
So there's a cool thing that Amazon has called the Lambda service, where you can write a function and it'll run in their cloud. So they've got the servers, they've got the hardware. You just say, "Here's my code. Run it when something happens." And one of the ways you can run it is you can actually put a little web interface in front of it to say, you know, make this like a webhook receiver, like take an HTTP post request.
It's just a little glue that just does webhook, and then you can have it
and it just calls
translate.
your code.
Okay.
Which in a lot of cases, that's all you want. Like you just have a little function you want to run. And there's a little bit of cost, you know, it's like a few pennies, I think, to run this. It's based on the resources, but it's super cheap. It's certainly less
And there's like free
expensive than a
tiers
full
and stuff.
service. Exactly.
And of course, you can always get a DigitalOcean droplet
Right.
and
you
do that.
can
I mean,
run-
like, we're not going to preclude that. If you guys want to
Yep.
set up your server,
You could run it at home even if you
you
punch
can
open
even
your
okay
firewall.
do whatever you want to do.
Yep.
You could even, I mean, again, you can use if this and that or Zapier.
Right.
There's a side effect to using those where there's a delay. They're not as fast.
Yeah.
Than you webhooks.
You've got more control, and this
Yeah.
is kind of neat too because you can kind of see the whole process. You learn a lot
Okay.
about this.
So
okay, cool. So
let's go to Amazon.
yep, yeah. So we'll need to use Amazon Web Services.
Okay, so
AWS.
another tab, aws.amazon.com.
Yep.
Here I are. Okay, so sign into the console.
Yeah, and this console basically has all of the services Amazon has. So it looks a little
Okay.
scary.
Oh my
There's
God.
a lot of things going on here. Yeah.
Ah, so scary. Okay, so what are we gonna do?
Okay, so the first thing, let's talk to Lambda, which
Okay.
is the
go to
Lambda,
Lambda.
service, and we'll just click Get Started.
Get started.
Basically, yep. You
Okay.
can go and create things. So blueprints, when it starts out, the Lambda service kind of gives you these pre-built things.
Oh, so like Slack and Node and some S3
Exactly,
thing.
like real basic examples. Unfortunately, I don't really have an example that
For
fits
MQTT
us.
stuff,
Yeah.
okay.
So we'll do our own thing, but so we can just scroll down and say, let's skip this step.
Skip.
Yep.
Okay.
We're doing it ourselves. So
So-
okay, cool. We give it a name.
So this is going to be my alert tower web hook.
Yep.
Okay.
And
I'll give it a little happy
there
underscores.
we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Easier to read.
So this is webhook to MQTT mini gateway.
Yep.
Because that's what it's going to do. It's going to take a webhook and convert it to MQTT.
And then runtime. This is interesting.
Okay.
You can actually write in Node.js, Java, or Python with the Lambda service.
Python.
So yeah, let's do Python. It's
Okay.
pretty straightforward. Now this is kind of cool. If it's a simple function, you can actually just code it right here and say, you know, maybe this doesn't have to have a lot of logic, or I'm using all the built-in Python libraries. We need to use a library though, like we need to use an MQTT library to talk to Adafruit.io. So we can't just edit the code here.
Okay.
The way Lambda service works, when you need to use libraries, you have to kind of write the code on your computer.
Oh, look,
zip it
you
up
had-
and
you had
upload it.
sent me earlier.
Look, we've baked this ahead of time. We're pulling this out.
You sent
Yeah.
me this in, so this is the
The code. And
the code.
really the only thing that matters here is this main.py.
Okay.
The
So
requirements
that's my Adafruit.io
text-
key. I'm going to change that as soon as we're done here. So
Yeah, right. This is, it's all revocable.
you guys can all turn on and off my my things. Okay.
But so just looking at this code, it's really just one function. So there's this webhook handler function. It takes a couple of parameters. So there's an event, which is data that gets sent to the webhook, and we'll see how the data from GitHub gets tossed into there.
Okay.
And then context is just some
So I actually want
info
to change
about
this to be red light because
Right.
we did some experiments earlier to make sure that we could actually get data out of GitHub. So we were trying that out. But we're
Exactly.
calling it the red light feed.
Yep.
Okay.
And then in the function, so you can print things out, and that gets logged in Amazon service. It's kind of cool how they
So it
do
says,
it.
so basically main, it starts the handler.
Yeah. And this main, if name equals main at the bottom, that's just so I can run it locally, because when Python runs the
Yeah.
script locally, it has this weird convention to say the name is main. So it's good for like testing. But when the Lambda service runs it, it's just going to run our function directly.
Okay.
It's not going to deal
So
with
it
that.
prints out running, and
Yep.
it gets the action. So this is the event
Right, so
context. So,
some-
if you're doing
some data
GUIs, like you're
center.
used to this because it's like events.
Yep.
Okay, so event based,
Exactly, yeah. So it's going to send you the data that was in the web request.
and then tells you what it got.
Right, so we'll just print out some debug info. Now we'll say, okay, there's an action field in here, and we'll see more when we look at GitHub, but it has a certain format for when it sends you the webhook data for a repository. So one of those things is, here's the action for an issue event, and if it's closed or opened, we can do different things here. So,
Okay, and we can change this to almost anything based on whatever GitHub pushes. It's, we were first doing the experiment with an issue. If you open up an issue, that's like one of the easiest things to test because you
Right.
can open and close
Yeah,
issues
yeah.
constantly.
Yep.
Okay, and then when it gets an action, it'll publish the IO topic, which is
Yep.
up here, and then either off or on, which is it's basically replicating that button
the
flipping.
button push, exactly.
This is just the host name, which is the IO service, the authorization, which is the key, the username, and all that good stuff. So basically, it's a very simple MQTT push. But to do this, you need to have the Paho MQTT
Right, so we're
library.
using this Paho library.
Okay.
And we just had to install that locally in this directory. You use the pip command with the -t option, which says, I want to choose where this gets installed, because normally pip installs your Python stuff globally.
Yeah. So here it is. It's got the
it
package
throws this
here.
little package thing in there.
And
there's
now,
actually
if
code
you were
for it.
totally crazy, you could actually take all the Paho code, put it into your main.py, and type
You
it
could-
in.
yeah,
But we're
exactly,
not
yeah.
doing that. Okay, so now I've got this.
Okay, so and
Lambda.
then, right now what we have to do is zip up all the files here.
Okay, so let's
in the
make a
zip
new
file.
zip, and it's called webhook.
Yep.
And then I'll just grab
Just
all this
toss all
stuff
those
in.
in, yep.
Whoa,
Uh-oh.
don't double click. Oh my God, what did I do?
Okay, there we go. Back.
This mouse sometimes double clicks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so then,
Cool,
okay, so I
okay.
want to upload this code.
Yeah.
Upload a zip
Throw
file.
the zip file in there.
And then in here, just select that zip.
Yep. And then now scroll down. There's a little bit more we have to fill in. So Lambda function, handler, and role. The handler, this is telling Lambda what function we define.
Right.
Because it needs to know.
It doesn't know, it's just a gigantic
Yeah,
code base.
You could have multiple files in there.
Okay.
So this is actually identifying a Python function. So
That's like main.handler is the handler in main.py.
Yeah.
Okay.
and so this is main.py, so we need to do main.webhook handler is what we called it. So,
Okay.
Yep.
No biggie. Main. Okay.
Cool. Now role, this is a little bit of Amazon's fanciness where they can lock down and say this Lambda might not be able to do certain things. Like if you didn't want it to access network, like a security kind of risk, or maybe you wanted to access some database that you have. We don't really care. We're just going to use the basic execution role. So we'll use go down to the use existing, yeah.
Okay.
And this basically, they have a pre-built security policy that says
This doesn't
it
have
can-
access to my S3
Right,
stuff
it can't
or
go
my
create
Dynamo.
all kinds of stuff. It can talk to the network basically, and that's all we need for the Lambda.
Okay.
Now the advanced settings, this you can control how much memory. So like, if you're really you're doing all the
Yeah.
crazy image processing, you might need gigabytes. No, we don't need that.
Okay.
The timeout, let's bump this up though. So 3 seconds is a little short because we're talking to a web service with an MQTT request, and anytime you deal with a web service, in the good case, it's going to be less than a second. But in the bad
But
case,
what if Adafruit.io is just it just blips for a second,
right,
doesn't
there could be
reply,
some
it freaks out.
slowdowns.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Lambda, if it exceeds the time, it just kills it, so it'll stop running. So
Okay.
nothing bad happens. So yeah, so click next, and that'll get us to the last stage.
So
yeah,
review the name alert tower webhook to MQTT gateway. We want this Python 2.7, which I think is funny because it's like Python 3.
The 3, yeah.
But nobody uses Python 3. Like I still use Python 2.7. And like people keep saying like, hey, well, you got to update your code to 3, and I'm like, well, I can put parentheses around like the print stuff. But I'm not going to do anything else.
Well, hey, it's 2016. You know, maybe we can work more on getting.
In
more Python
2016,
3.5.
we'll update this to Python 3, but I understand why they decided to stick with Python 2.7. Anyways, you gotta get the handler, the role, the memory, and the timeout.
Yep.
So let's create it.
Cool.
Okay, it's been created.
We got a function.
Okay, so we get configuration and event sources and
Yeah,
endpoints
there's
and
all
monitoring.
kinds of fanciness that
Whoa,
Amazon
invocations.
has.
Wow, cool.
It's pretty cool what they've built. But let's use the test function.
Okay, test?
Yeah, right. So let's click this. Okay, so now testing, it's going to pop up and say, what input do we want to send our Lambda function? And this is what goes into that event parameter that we saw.
Oh, right,
at the start.
and it's the action.
Right.
Get event action.
Right.
And then closed or open.
Right. And it's
Okay.
basically JSON formatted data that it's sending us.
Well, it looks like it kind of started a little bit
Right.
there.
And Python is actually parsing this out, or the Lambda service parses it out. But yeah, so we just need to send it a dictionary, a JSON dictionary
Okay.
that says,
So just literally action
yep.
and then opened. That's
Yep.
it?
Yeah. So like
Okay.
we're sending it a command there.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
and
and-
save and test?
Yeah, let's do save and test.
Whoa.
Oh, hey, the light came on.
The light came on.
Excellent,
Okay, so let's
excellent.
go back to test.
And so it's going to send open again, so it'll
Oh,
just
can I
stay on.
change the
Yeah, so
oh,
if we
configure test
it,
event.
Right.
And so now let's change this to closed. And then
And then
save and
send
test
it,
and
yeah.
then bam. All
That's
right.
pretty cool.
That's
Like,
it.
and
And then
you
if
can
we go
see-
back to our feeds, oh sorry. You
Oh,
want to
well, and it's kind of neat. Like, so Amazon has some server somewhere that just ran our code. We didn't have to deal with it within like milliseconds.
Oh, that was fast.
I'm always impressed. Yeah, with
That was
what they can
fast.
do. And then that code talked to Adafruit's server, and then Adafruit's server said, "Oh, you've got a connection to this little ESP device. I got to send it a message." So there's a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, so here you can see the tests.
Exactly. So this is the history of all of the
Okay.
events that have happened on that feed
Neat.
for it.
Neat. Okay. All right, so now
That's cool.
we've got
So we got a function,
AWS,
yeah.
which is sending MQTT messages to Adafruit.io, which is sending the messages to the ESP8266 Feather, which is
Yeah.
turning this on and off. So we've already got like 3 technologies
Right.
going on here. Do you think we can do a 4th?
Yes.
Okay.
We can do.
Okay.
Definitely. So the next step then is this isn't a webhook yet. So the Lambda function, it needs to have a web interface. So you need to be able to do an HTTP put against this or
Okay.
post against this. And this is something now that kind of Amazon recently created. They have a thing called the API Gateway, where you can define a web API and have it call Lambda functions. It can even call your own servers functions, like if you run your own stuff. But that's what we can use as like a little layer on top of our Lambda function to give us the glue between.
So this
the
doesn't,
hub.
yeah, the Lambda function, it's there and it's running, but it has no knowledge of the outside world.
Right. There's nothing that can call it other than when we call the test here.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could configure it to like have a cron job where it runs automatically. But we don't want that here. Like, we want some outside action to deal with this.
Okay.
So click that little box at the top. Yeah.
Box.
And this takes us back to the console. So we want to go to the API gateway on the right there. Yeah. That
Got it.
service. And kind of like Lambda, you go through a little process here. We'll get started. And you've got to give it a name and description.
So
everything-
alert tower webhook API.
Perfect.
Okay. Great. I can also use that as the description. Okay, and then just create.
Yep. Do create.
Okay.
And so now we build the API, and it's the interface they have here on the left is a tree of all of the different nodes in the API.
Whoa, it's like
And
resource
so-
QVWJKK.
Yeah, and you kind of think of it like if you look at the web, the URL at the top of the page, you can see all the slashes in there,
Mm-hmm.
and you basically build up the resources and say, okay, I want my API to look like some certain set of paths that I want here. So this root, we could create APIs right under the root, but that's not so good because maybe we want to add a lot of APIs, and if you don't want to just overload that root. So let's create a resource under here, and this lets you create a path underneath your root. We can call this anything, but this will be something that our web request calls. So don't put like spaces in it, for example. It has to be like a web-friendly thing.
So maybe this will be the GitHub Lambda.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, whatever.
and create resource. So that creates the resource. Now we need to create a function inside of there, like
Okay.
an HTTP web request. So yeah, do create method.
Method.
And then
Okay.
you can click
So post.
post, exactly. So
Yeah, because
these
it's
are-
pushing data.
Right, and
Okay.
these are all the HTTP web requests. And yeah, click the little check mark. And okay, so that's created. Now it's not deployed yet. We'll get to that in a second. But this is where we configure and say, okay, what does this thing do? So HTTP proxy can say, okay, I've got my own server somewhere, proxy off to it. Yeah, we don't care. We want to call Lambda. Like we've got the code that we uploaded before.
So I can tell that they designed this so that
You can plug
It's
in
meant
parts
for
because
this,
like
yeah.
your service, maybe a few parts of your service are Lambda functions because they're simple, but maybe you have some real high load stuff where you need to put that on like a real server, for example. So you could have it like proxy off, like a certain path maybe goes to your server here. So that's kind of cool, and that's I think the big advantage of this API gateway is that it puts it all in one place for your service, where you can say, okay, I've got all these paths and it's all configured the same way.
Okay.
So, okay, so the region, this is one little AWS thing where everything lives in a region of AWS. In the upper right corner, you can see we're in North
Virginia?
North Virginia, exactly. That's the East
East?
1 region.
Okay.
And it's kind of cool. Like there's regions all around the world. So you know, if you want to make a server, I think I saw one like Brazil or
that's
Asia.
neat.
So yeah,
Okay.
they're crazy. Okay, so now we need to pick the function. And it's just the name of the function that we had before.
Oh, man.
And I can't remember.
Alert Tower webhook.
Oh, there we go. Good. So it tells us.
so it pre-fills it. Okay.
So yeah, so click save.
Save.
So this is just telling us we're going to call Lambda function. Okay, sure.
That's fine.
Okay, and this gives
Oh,
us
man.
a weird. Yeah, this is a little scary. This is kind of enterprisey, I'd say. There's lots of things going on here. This lets you test the request. We've kind of already tested it. We don't care about that so much. One thing we need to do is actually deploy this though, so that it actually puts it out on the web. Because right now
Okay.
this is all kind of in this kind of.
It's
limbo
still in the
state.
test zone.
Yeah.
It looks like you can select these and test them.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
kinda
Click
shows you the
test.
whole flow.
I like how there's a little lightning bolt here.
Okay, so click deploy API, and we'll put this out. Now they have a concept of like a stage. You could have like a production API and a testing API. Okay, we'll say this is production.
It's done.
Yeah, there you go. And this just gives you, so it's just going to use that it's done in front of the URL, which is fine. It's giving
Okay.
us a-
Yeah, this is for
this
people
is,
who do.
Right, this is the enterprisey kind of thing of, it's got to be very complicated.
Okay, so I have an invoke URL now.
Okay, and this isn't actually the URL that we want because this is the URL for the root, which there's no method there. So drill down into that little tree, and let's go.
Why is this a
into-
boat?
That is a little. Yeah, that is weird.
Is that a
wow,
boat?
I think,
don't know what that
you're
is.
right. Like a cruise ship. Kind
Cruise
of
ship? Okay, so click on the
Okay,
post.
yes. Go to the post. So there's our function.
So it gives it all the GitHub Lambda.
Right, and there is the URL. So we want to send a post to that URL with
Okay.
that JSON data, like we sent into that test format.
Okay, can I just use like curl or something?
Yeah, you could totally do that.
Okay, so-
anything, any kind of library or tool.
Let's just try curl. I gotta remember how to.
I think
do
it's
it.
was the dash
Hold on,
data.
curl
Yeah,
post
something.
example.
Right. This is the problem. Like curl is very generic, but it's sometimes too
Okay,
generic.
curl
You
dash dash
remember.
data and then okay, so
Yeah.
curl dash dash data and then
So we need. Yeah.
and
we
then I'll
send-
just put this here
The
and then I
URL,
can
yep.
go back and we can edit.
Right.
Okay, so that's the URL and then we have to
Yep.
put it in.
So we want to send like exactly what we sent in the test for the Lambda function, that a JSON object that has an action equal to opened, reopened, closed.
Okay.
And yeah.
Should I
let's
look
see.
up JSON formatting?
Or yeah.
I
It's,
do not do. Oh wait, you can actually get a formatter. But
Yeah,
it's
well,
not
this,
right.
well,
Yeah.
I can show you. It's you just need to do a curly brace.
Oh wait, here
so-
it is. So it's open brace. Okay.
Right.
Thing,
It's a
okay.
JavaScript object basically, which
So
is kind of like a
open,
dictionary.
And then action. And
And then
so close.
double parens,
Oh
yeah.
jeez, sorry.
oh, that's okay. Well, that actually shows us that it tried to call the web service.
Okay, it
and
tried.
failed. Yep.
It failed.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so action, and then now like
Opened.
opened, yeah, closed.
'Cause it's
whatever.
not on.
Yep.
Okay.
And then close curly brace after that. So we basically got a little dictionary that has an action item in there.
and we have to escape
Yeah,
these.
and right. So now because we've got double parens in there, and they have to be double parentheses because that's the JSON format. You can't
Right.
do single.
And
so,
you have to and
yeah.
the curl wants it too. So all right, so let's just try this one.
Okay.
I'll hold this
Magic.
up. You want to hit return?
Oh, look at that.
Okay, so
Cool.
then can you
Yeah,
go up and
let's
edit
do,
it? And it said okay. So that's kind of
right.
nice too.
Yeah, and so and you can kind of see the code behind there. We're returning okay, and so that's.
Oh, so this is
kinda
actually
fun.
getting the data. It's actually getting the return data from the Lambda and actually passing that back.
Exactly, he's returning it directly to
Okay.
you. So yeah, so
So opened. So now we have an interface through
That's cool.
curl to the AWS webhook, which is this,
yep.
which then talks to the Lambda,
Lambda
function,
function.
translates to MQTT, talks
Yep.
to Adafruit.io. Hey. Hey. Somebody managed to type in the V7R12
excellent.
V6.
More
okay.
power to you if you figured it out. Yeah.
All right. Well,
and that's one thing, and you can set up authentication and all this stuff, but we're kind of doing the easy way.
this
here.
is
So
why, by the way, this is why I didn't set up the buzzer, because I know our viewers, and one thing I know is they'll always, send data
Yeah,
when not
if
expected
there's an
while I'm
API,
sleeping. Okay, so somebody just turned
hey,
it off.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so this is going to just flash on and off all night. That's fine. Okay, so, all right.
Okay, cool. So this is cool. So
Now we have a webhook.
right, and we don't have any server running. This is all just code in Amazon
Which is
Cloud.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, if I wanted to set up a
Simple,
DigitalOcean droplet,
easy.
I could do it, but I don't
Yeah,
want to. I just have
right.
AWS do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the last step. Then let's go back to GitHub and hook this.
We're
up.
here.
Okay. Cool.
Okay,
So we need that URL now. Basically, we've got that value.
I still have it.
Perfect.
But it says it doesn't look like a valid one.
Well, let's put all this
Oh, wait,
funky
there's a
stuff in
space.
there. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
The space is all killed it. Okay, so content type JSON,
Yeah,
yes.
keep it as JSON. Secret, you could put a secret here, which everyone would see, and then it can get passed into your function to validate.
It would not be their secret.
Yeah.
We were broadcasting it onto the internet.
It's not going to help us, so we don't need it.
Okay.
Now we can pick which events we want to trigger this. Let's do let me select, because there are a lot of events. So you can see there's like anything that happens to a repository.
Commit comments, deletes, deployments.
Yeah.
We can basically go through and parse whatever.
Right.
But we want to just do issues because that's kind of what you originally wrote the code
Exactly
for.
right. We'll
Issue
pick-
opened or closed.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so yeah,
Maybe we'll
pick
add
that.
more later.
Right. We can add more. And then scroll down. I think there's okay. We'll just activate it. So yeah.
Okay,
So
add it.
click the add webhook, and okay. So now it's set up. And
Oh, we said a
let's-
ping payload. I don't know what that means. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything.
probably didn't have any of the actions. that
Okay,
we're
so
looking
here we
for.
go.
So okay, so it's there. So let's try to create an issue. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so we just create an issue, and
Yep.
this is new. Testing red light. Okay, hold on. We have to,
Yeah.
to hold this
Oh,
up.
Yeah.
and then test. Okay.
Look at that.
It
That's
turned on. Or somebody
pretty cool.
coincidentally
Yeah,
said.
yeah, maybe.
Okay, so when I created the issue, because I just love this chain of events.
Exactly.
We create
There's a
the
lot
issue.
of things going on here.
GitHub contacts that URL,
Yep.
posts that JSON data. That JSON data gets sent to the Lambda function. The
Yep.
Lambda function then parses it and turns it into an MQTT on-off
Yep.
and sends it to
Adafruit.io.
Adafruit.io, which is then picked up by this and turned on.
Right.
Okay.
All within like milliseconds, probably 100, 200 milliseconds. So it's pretty quick.
So let's close the issue.
Oh, there it is.
And
Cool.
turned off, and I can reopen the issue,
Ooh.
and I can close it again.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, you could really go wild with this and have all your repositories and have like buzzers and alarms. Never get any sleep. Be constantly going on off.
Okay.
But it's the kind of thing that it's kind of cool. Like you've got all this code. Now we could hook this into other services like Travis CI is like a continuous integration service that runs your code all the time. I think it has webhooks where like if your build fails, that could send some alarms that wake people up. If there's like site monitoring services that can ping your site and see if it's up, and that can fire off webhook events. So we're kind of showing how to do the basics with the webhook, but the webhooks are starting to become like a de facto standard for service-to-service communication. Like it's a real easy way to make it work. So
Okay.
okay.
Well,
Do we-
I actually want to try one more thing. Phil, do we have enough time to do one? I want to see if we can get it so when there's somebody stars this, it turns on the yellow light.
Do different light. Okay.
Are we
cool.
right? Do you think we can handle it?
I think we can do it. I
Okay.
think we can do it. Okay, so we could do this as like a whole nother API endpoint if we wanted, or we could use the existing one.
Let's reuse this. Let's reuse.
Yeah, right, because there's a lot of click through in Amazon.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't. I mean, we could make a whole new thing, but
Yeah,
let's just
yeah.
see if we can just reuse
Right.
what we got.
We'll use what we have.
So, settings?
Yeah, go into settings, and actually let's look at something that GitHub does that's interesting. Yeah, go to the webhooks and click that little green checkbox to the left. And this actually, and if you scroll down, they have a history of all the recent
Oh,
events.
neat.
So, and if you click one of those, right, so you can open it up.
Oh wow! It like tells you what it sent.
And this is cool. Thank you, whatever GitHub engineer added this, because
Thank
this-
you, GitHub
yes.
engineer, if you're watching.
This is very handy. This says exactly what GitHub sent our service, so we can see like they pack a lot of data in here. It's saying
Wow, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives you callbacks and
right
stargazers.
all the
and-
data you could want.
Wow, that's so handy. So you don't have to ask for anything.
Right, and so we can
And
see
what we're looking for is this action.
right. Well, and that's the action for the specific type of event that we have.
Okay.
But let's go back. Let's turn on a new event, like starring.
So-
I guess yeah.
Yeah, let's actually do. Yeah, hold on. Let's do a push, just so we have that.
Right. We can recreate. pushes
And
easily.
then because it's a handy one, and then
probably I think the watch.
Star.
Yeah.
okay, and then update.
Yeah, so update the webhook. And so those events might happen, and our code probably won't handle it right now.
It won't, but let's just see
But
what happens.
We can see what they're sending us
Okay,
and then
so-
change our code. Okay, yeah.
Should I star it?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start it.
Star it. Okay,
Cool.
so now I can go to the events,
Yeah, and
this is
we might need to refresh, but
I'll
let's just see what
refresh.
happens. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is the most recent one, and this
So
is
did it
actions started,
Started. Interesting. Okay.
not
But scroll
Start.
down because there might be another thing that tells us keep scrolling. So these are like all kinds of state. So here's the sender. That's who did this action.
I think they
Let's
just
see.
mistyped it. They probably just meant to say starred, and it says started instead. Let's see what happens if I unstar it.
Well, no, I think it's because someone started watching it. But
Oh,
somewhere,
watch start
Yeah,
starting to
Oh,
run.
here's where they put it. They do this X GitHub event. Well, this could be interesting, I guess.
But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a unique action.
You're right. You're right. So there is an action field. Yeah, right. Like
So
a
let's
simple
try
way-
unstarring. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
See what happened. Okay, and then
And it's.
oh, maybe somebody else starred. Hold on.
Oh yeah, this could be.
This is a problem.
No,
Started.
maybe that's how they do it. Interesting.
Hold on. Let me refresh. Because there's also watching, which is maybe different.
From the stars. Yeah.
Yeah. It just says started, but I only want to know when it's starred. So maybe that's.
Yeah, we could do that. And I think we can. I haven't done it much, but I'm pretty sure we can actually access those headers, the X GitHub event.
Well, I mean, like I don't really need to.
yeah. We could do a simple thing here and just look at like started.
Okay.
That'll be easier because so you can get really complex and like we can parse out the whole request and look at everything.
Yeah, we
but,
could go crazy, but
you
let's
know,
just
yeah,
do
let's keep it simple.
started.
Let's just look at started. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to go. So all that data will be passed through. What we really have to do is
Yeah.
go here.
Right, it gets thrown into that event object, and so it's just taking the JSON, deserializing it, and giving you a big dictionary that has all the
Okay,
data.
so started, and it will send an on.
in there. Yeah, and then
and-
we need to pick the topic. So right now the script
Oh.
just assumes there's one topic, which is like
I'll just make a
the
new
yellow.
topic called
Exactly.
yellow.
Yeah.
And then I have a question.
Yeah.
A yellow topic. Can I put a delay here, like a time sleep, and then it sends it off?
Good question. You can. You just need to be careful because there's that delay or the timeout for the Lambda function itself, like the execution limit. So you could put like import time and do time.sleep.
Oh, I'll try it. All right.
Yeah.
Import. I mean, because that would be neat if it
So you have a little bit of a delay.
a delay and then just
Oh, if you want to do like a blink kind of a thing.
yeah. So sleep
Yeah.
and then just like
yeah.
just a little bit, and
and
then
publishing off.
publish off. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you could
I have no
totally do it.
idea, but
And
try-
it just comes down to the longer the function runs, the more Amazon kind of charges you. But it's like fractions of a penny. It's not something
I think
to worry
I think I
about.
can live with this.
Yeah. And
Okay.
there's a free tier of like you get a certain amount of requests you can do. So
Okay.
okay, cool. So we'll do this. So,
I don't know. I'll try it.
So now we need to zip this up again and send it to.
Oh wait, do I have to change this webhook action opened or is this?
No, well.
Oh, that's your
if
tester,
If we want
okay.
to test it, we could run
I
it
see.
locally, exactly. And,
You were
and
just
test
hard-coding
out,
it.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe it makes sense if you want to change that action equal to started, and then let's just go in like a command prompt if you want, and just run the Python script.
Oh no, it's okay. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
we'll just
Yeah,
zip
yeah.
it up
We'll-
and send it.
We're gonna live on the edge. We'll
I'm
see
feeling
how it works.
I'm feeling
Yeah.
confident. All right, so let's delete all of this. Rezip it. Man, that double
oops.
click is kicking my butt. There you go.
There we go. You can also right click, and there's like a send to compressed folders. It took me forever to find this.
You
When
know,
I did, it was.
I
pretty
don't. I
cool.
think it's gone because you see it's completely.
Oh,
white.
yeah, yeah, you got all
That
kinds
start
of
menu is
things.
destroyed. Okay, so we're back to API. So the gateway is
Okay,
fine.
Yeah, the gateway, right. It's we didn't add any new APIs, so we're cool.
Let's go to the Lambda.
Yep, it's just the code we need to
Okay,
change.
and then click on this.
Yep. And upload new file.
Do I have to
here.
rename this?
No, you can just
Okay.
give it the same one. You do have to do save though. This is one little annoying thing. It doesn't,
Save.
yeah, until you actually save it. So okay. Oh, let's see. So yeah, I think we're
I
good.
don't know. Do you want to try test?
Oh yeah, right. So
Oh, we have
this
to
went
change
on.
the configure test
Exactly.
event.
So now we can do like started.
Okay. Oh, I'll see if this works.
Ah, hey.
That was cool.
Blinked on and off real quick.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll
Hold
do
this up. So just test it.
Oops, test.
Yeah, I mean it's only
pretty
0.2 seconds.
Yeah, which is
maybe
like
let's
as quick as the request can go, kind of. But
I
yeah.
don't know. I'm feeling greedy.
Okay.
I'm gonna bump that up. Now that we know it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do a full second. Yeah.
Yep, that
I mean,
makes
we
sense.
have a 1
Yeah,
minute
we've got
timeout.
a minute, right? Exactly, too.
And then I'm just gonna replace this.
And we could bump that timeout up if we wanted, but it's.
But what's neat is
Yeah.
that the logic is completely taken care of because they could have added the delay in
in the
in the ESP.
Arduino sketch, yeah.
But I kind of like that it's being done on this side
Right,
because
you get more flexibility. You don't have to go and reprogram the chip
Yep.
when you have some new action you want
Yep.
to do. Yeah, that's kind of
okay.
cool.
So save, and then I'm gonna hold this up and
Do
click
test.
test. So now I get a full second
Cool.
when somebody stars our repository.
Yeah, and it could have
Okay.
buzzers. Their confetti could be shooting out.
That's
It would
right.
go
We are
wild.
going to get to the confetti machine. So now let's go back to. Do you want to just go crazy and do one more thing?
Oh, sure.
How about when we do a push,
It lights up like the
it
green
lights
light.
up something else?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Can we do something? Hey, somebody,
Hey.
somebody starred. Thank you. I'm going to leave that on. I'm not.
Yeah,
That's going to be
that would
running
be
all
cool.
night. So how about when we do a push, a green light
Okay.
turns on for again like a second or something.
Right. Let's try that.
Okay.
So let's actually do a push so we can get an example of what GitHub
Yeah, 'cause we have to see
sends.
what it looks like.
Right. There's probably some push action.
So what we're actually going to push is, of course, the code.
Makes sense.
Except I'm going to take
there.
out my. I'm not going to
Ah,
commit
sure,
the
your API keys.
API key. So this is the Lambda code, and then
Somebody created an issue.
oh no, there's an issue, or they did the curl.
True. Yep.
So let's just actually, you know what? I'm going to just edit the README for now. So test for push, and then I'll push it when I know it's good. So commit test push. I'm used to like 1080p, so every window is gigantic. Commit
Cool.
and push.
Okay.
Okay, success. So now we're gonna go to.
And refresh
Web.
this page, and at the bottom we'll see that log, and we should
Okay, so the
hopefully
most
see-
recent.
And so GitHub event push. Okay.
Ooh,
wow.
payload's weird.
Wow, this one's wacky. Before, after, compare, commit. So we could just look for, is there, maybe scroll down, let's see if there's, actually if there's a commits item, entry in this dictionary, then we should know that this must be a push. If there's a...
Okay, you just want to look for if commits exist.
if commits in the dictionary, then
Okay.
we'll consider this.
Yeah,
that.
because I mean you could look for ref, but I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a
there
little
could be
weird.
other events, right?
Okay.
And the right way to do this would be to probably look at that header, but we have to dive into the context of the Lambda
Yeah,
function.
and we're just and
so-
it's very constrained. So
Yep.
I'm totally cool with just if it commits, then we know it's a push.
We're doing a couple hours here.
Yeah, I mean, look, we gotta
Yeah,
celebrate.
New Year's is coming
We
up.
gotta-
Actually, 5 minutes. It's gonna be New Year's somewhere, probably, right?
it's gonna be New Year's in like
If it's New
Bermuda
Year's-
or
If it's
something.
New Year's for you in 5 minutes, tweet it.
Okay, Happy New Year's
Yeah.
to the people in 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to go back to the Lambda function,
Yeah.
and then we're going to.
Okay,
Okay.
so the event is a dictionary Right now we're calling event.get on the action. And that .get function, if action doesn't exist in the dictionary, it's just going to give it a none value. So it's kind of like it's not going to explode with an exception. We can do also if a string is in that event, then that's kind of a check to say, does this item exist in the dictionary? So yeah, so that makes sense. Like we're getting kind of complex, yeah. Like throwing.
Okay, so I just want to make an issue for
Exactly.
issues, open and closed, and this is for
the stars.
starring and watching. Okay, so now we're here because
Yeah.
action wasn't equal to closed, opened, or started.
Right.
So
So then I would do elif,
elif
and then let's say what was that? Commits. Yeah, commits in
commits in
event.
event.
Yeah, and that's just in Python how you check does something exist in a dictionary. So this will return true if commits is
Great.
in there. We don't care what the value is; it's just the presence of it tells us that this must be a commit.
Okay, and I'm going to kind of copy this, and then I'm going to do the green topic.
Right. New topic. Yeah.
This is actually the one time I could use a buzzer because I'm not too worried about.
To warn. Oh yeah.
So maybe I'll hook it. Maybe I'll hook
Oh,
up
that's
the
true.
green
We
to the
have a little
buzzer.
more control over. Yeah. We can-
So the green topic on and off. I'll do the same thing where there's a second delay,
cool.
and then I'll make this for the green light. And see, this is the only one I can control. That's why it's safe, unless somebody from Adafruit's watching and they're going to commit to it. Okay, so I've never used this way of searching within.
Yeah, there are a lot of ways you can do this. I think there's even like a function call. This is the Pythonic way to do it, I think. So,
No, it's fine. Actually,
so
kind of like
yeah.
you can search strings this way. I use it all the time.
Right.
I've never done it for dictionary events. Okay, I think I got all my
Yeah, it looks
search for
good.
places. So let's try deploying it.
And if it doesn't work, we can actually look and see inside of Amazon, they keep a log of every time your function runs.
Oh, neat.
So if it fails and throws an exception, we can actually go and see what that value was. But
Okay, so let's upload this new webhook.
yeah.
Save.
it. And
Okay, and let's do a test.
Right. Configure it. And
And then this
so-
time it's going to be. Was it commits?
Commits, I think. yeah.
Okay. And if it just
And
exists.
exactly. We don't care about the
So
value.
save and test. Okay,
Oh,
cool. So you
hey.
got green
Yeah,
LED.
just blinked.
So, yeah, it doesn't look for what the commits are. It just looks if there's
It's in there.
a commit.
Yeah. Now let's just maybe change it to like started to see if it stars and make sure that the green doesn't blink.
Okay, good point. Configure test event. Actually, yeah. What happens if
Action started. Yeah.
so
something like that.
action? Make sure old stuff worked.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, the yellow. Yep,
It,
there we
yellow.
go.
You know what I've noticed is I think that when you can't have like all the LEDs
two
on
are
at once. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, the power.
Okay, so yeah, it could be a power issue. I don't think these are designed to have all the LEDs on. At once.
Ah.
Okay, so there's like 8,000 issues, people. All right.
Excellent.
So I'm going to
Oh, I guess you could close.
I'm going to
those.
close this. Thanks.
Ah.
Okay. All right. So somebody just start it.
Cool.
Okay. So now.
Okay, now if we push code,
actually can-
in theory.
Hold on.
Oh wow, yeah.
Can I get this to stand
Drill
up?
into your no.
There you go.
Okay,
It's
cool.
perfect. Are you kidding? Okay. People are watching this replay. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, let's
So
actually
now
push the
let's
code.
push code. Yeah, exactly.
Leave it there. I will move the camera so
Okay.
it shows it. Okay.
Okay.
So like maybe change the README file or
Yeah,
or
no,
upload the code.
I'll
yeah.
start uploading code. I'm done. Yeah, we're finished. We're done. It's a Happy New Year.
Yeah.
So under Lambda, we have all of this. I'll just put the most recent one in, and then I'll quickly go in and your key here,
Right. Secret. Yeah.
your username here.
And at the top, yeah, too.
Yep. Okay, and then let's commit. And this.
Cool.
Should I just commit the Python stuff? I mean, I guess why not?
Yeah. It
It's
can't
compiled
hurt.
Python, but it's cross-platform
right.
and it's not that big.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm just going through. Well,
Yeah, this is all when pip installs something. I still don't fully understand all this egg, and now there's a wheel distribution is the new thing in Python.
Dude. Okay,
I'm sure in
are you
2016
ready?
there'll be a new Python.
It's going to be a push.
Okay.
Let's see it. Push, 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 push. Yay!
Ah, green. There we go.
Okay,
Cool.
so that's pushed, and then not one to stop. We're going to also create the ESP8266 code.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Right,
the
we have
other
to put
half.
that in
Yep.
there. And then it's the previous one. I'm actually just going to make a new file and then edit it.
Yeah, put in the code. And this is cool because that's a pretty generic sketch. You know, we can hook up all kinds of things. We don't have a lot of logic in there. We just have the feeds. Each one controls the lights. So, you know, if we get bored with this sketch, we can remove this Lambda function, make a new function that controls these lights in different ways. So, and if you look around, every service like Slack and HipChat, they have webhook integration. It's a really easy way to talk to services.
Okay, that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's do another commit.
Yeah, get the green light.
Love green light. And it keeps that the ESP266 is
There it is.
super lightweight. All it's doing
Yeah.
is looking at the feeds and lighting things up based on the feed. It's not doing
Right.
any analysis. We pulled that code onto the Lambda function.
Right.
Which is really
is
nice.
cool because we don't need to run a server. Like, you know, there are engineers in Amazon, unfortunately, they're probably on call right now. When the Lambda service goes down, we don't have to worry about that. You know, we just give them our code and say, run this thing. And it works pretty well. And it's amazing to see how quickly it reacts because there's like 4 different services this is going through. You know, this is, and ultimately traveling down our device here. So,
Red, green, the red, green, yellow, lights of a tower alert. Lambda is the AWS Lambda code for webhook to MQTT. Okay,
Cool.
good enough for me. And then I can do one last
oh wow. Uh-oh.
push, but with
Get
the buzzer.
The buzzer, uh-oh.
'Cause Happy New Year.
Some people throw confetti and pop off New Year's poppers. We get GitHub integration with lights and buzzers. Oh, click OK, I think.
Oh, sorry. I was like preparing for the,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
beep.
Ah, there it is. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year from us at Adafruit. Thank you for people who are continuously turning on and off
Popular repository.
our LED.
Yeah, people are playing along.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
A lot of folks notice that this is pretty groundbreaking. To be able to just do this live and like it works out.
I mean, like, I will admit, like, you got a little bit of the
Yeah,
code.
I've played with
You
this
played with
little bit,
AWS a little
but
bit
yeah,
beforehand, and I've kind of, I had MQTT code ready to go. That it's part of our learn example, but
Yeah.
we really did just do this live. Like, this is not pre-recorded and edited.
we have time, so tell folks, because you have mics, that they can ask their questions in the Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah, ask
channel.
questions. We have an awesome way of seeing your.
Yeah, we're doing that.
You can also Morse code with opening and closing issues, but it might take a very long time for us to read it. But yeah, so this is, and it's neat. And so this is going to be in the store, but like we just wanted to play around with
Right.
this because I've got a sample.
Example of how to do.
Yeah, and we'll
something like
mount this. And, we should have to do it with GitHub, but it's only, one of the examples. You could have this easily hook into Pingdom or
HipChat, Slack.
New Relic. So like,
Yeah.
your website is sluggish or it's down
Right.
or the service isn't working.
That should be firing all kinds of alarms. Yeah,
Beeping, buzzing, blinking.
Yep.
And so all that stuff is very easy to do now, and it's neat because, the MQTT stuff is just like,
Right.
it's so lightweight, ESP266 loves it.
In some ways, we built our own if this then that. like
Right.
pretty much here using Amazon's little cloud service here. So like, IFTTT, it already has certain integration. Like if you upload to Dropbox or whatever, we can make it work
Absolutely, you
pretty
could
easily.
you could have this be when you get instant message, when you have a meeting,
Right.
when you've spent more than 30 minutes looking at Facebook, whatever. The thing about if this and that is it's not as fast. That's the
Yeah.
thing that drives me a little crazy about it. You can have an if this and that event, and it can take up to 5
a little
minutes.
bit of time, right?
to-
That's just
for it
because
to-
they're operating at a different scale. Like they have to have so many events. You've got to throw things into queues. So to deal with that kind of scale is a little.
And
more
I understand
difficult.
it.
Yeah.
I understand it. Even Zapier, I think if you pay like the highest level, it only runs every 5 minutes, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
But like,
If we want to do things ourselves, it's
if
not
you do it
too
yourself,
hard, yeah.
this is instant. I mean, like it was less than a second from the push
Right. It's,
to the
it's
annoying beep.
I'm impressed. Like it's and also the way that Amazon makes it pretty easy to do this. And so I mean, you saw that Python function. Like there's almost no boilerplate.
Oh, there ain't
in there.
nothing going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very simple.
So it's right. It's real low abstractions. I mean, it's easy to understand it. So
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually we will have webhook integration into Adafruit.io. I know
Right.
that we talked
that
about
could
it.
make it even easier to.
We just haven't
hook
gotten
in.
around to it
Right. Right. You got to kind of crawl, walk, run for a lot of things. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, cool. So is there any questions? So we have a question. So you have 2 power supplies, one for the Feather and one for the lights. Yep, that's right. We wanted to get this done fast. So we have 2 power supplies. Right now there's a 12 volt for the lights because it needs 12 volts and a 5 volt supply for the Feather. However, we did talk earlier today, what you can do is either use one 12 volt power supply and then a linear regulator to bring that down to 5 volts for the Feather, huzzah. Or you can have a little boost converter that converts 5 volts up to 12. It's cheaper to go down with an LDO.
Right, makes sense.
So use an LD33. That'll bring it down to 3.3 volts. Then you only have a 12 volt cable.
Yeah.
And you can do it that way. You could also boost from a LiPo and have it all completely battery powered, but it wouldn't last very long.
Yeah, and you could change the lights potentially, or if you had different lights, it didn't require 12 volts.
That's
Make
another
it
thing we talked
easier.
about. You
Yeah.
can open this up, and they set up the LEDs for 12 volt operation, but you could just replace it with the NeoPixels, and then you can run off of 5
Just
volts
5, yeah.
or LiPo, or just individual LEDs and then run off of 3 volts. So we kind of wanted to get this done as quickly as possible.
Right. Lots of ways to do it.
But I mean, like you can take this much further. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Which light for new issues? New issues is red. So if you make a new
Yeah.
issue, it'll
If you-
turn
yeah,
red.
open an issue.
Okay.
Cool.
Whew.
Can Amazon send MQTT messages directly? They have a new service, actually, and if you go to the Amazon's thingy,
Okay.
they have an IoT service in that big crazy
So
dashboard.
it's on MQTT. I don't know. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, you can actually see it in your
Oh, my dashboard.
Yeah, open
Okay,
that
so go
up.
to the dashboard.
Right.
Go to your computer.
Yeah, let's go to the computer.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That AWS IoT, I don't know much about it, but I heard about it recently, and I think it does MQTT or certain events
But does it
like
do
that.
webhooks? So
I don't think it does webhooks. You're right. So, but there might be an easier way to kind of, if you wanted to run an MQTT server, I bet Amazon might have that, or they're probably thinking about it if they don't have it.
But what's nice about Python is, you just include the PAHO library and it's like, you're done.
Yeah.
Like it's so,
real
it's
simple
so
to
easy.
use, yeah.
Especially for publish, because you don't have to sit there and listen.
Exactly. Yeah. You just fire and forget.
So we have to like them.
Yeah, the lights are blinking like crazy.
Cool. Cool.
Don't worry, they're blinking. We can see them. Red. And what's the Amazon service called? Oh, that's the AWS IoT, which I haven't played with. It's very
Yeah,
new. It's
I
only
don't
like
know
a
anything
month
about it
old or
either,
something.
but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and the Amazon service we're using is called Lambda. That's
using
the
Lambda.
for the actual function that we run. And then there's the service in front of that called the Amazon API Gateway, which gives you like a web interface to your Lambda
I
functions.
mean, this is insane. Look at all these-
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. They've got all kinds of stuff.
I remember when it was just EC2
Right.
and S3.
Just run a server.
Now it's
yeah.
now it's everything. Okay. Sweet.
Cool, cool.
I'm just hanging out here.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Let's get you out of there.
Let's do this thing. Oh wait, what languages does Lambda support? Lambda supports Java 8,
Yeah.
Python 2.7,
and Node.js.
and Node.js.
Yeah.
And we go with Python 2.7 because we like Python.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All right.
Why don't you get you out of here?
So we're going to go and celebrate the new year. So thank you everybody who tuned in. And of course this is going to be recorded and you can watch it again. We're going to leave this light here so you can blink it to your heart's
Start of the
content.
repository.
You won't know, but you'll just imagine the LEDs going on and off.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody and have a happy and safe new year. We'll see you in 2016. 2016, we're going to do even more.
Cool.
We're going to be broadcasting a lot. And you're going to be doing videos.
Oh, yeah. Well, totally. We'll get some broadcasts, do some projects.
Okay.
Cool.
Sweet. I'll
Cool. Hey.
see you next year.